Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the second round of NJSIAA South Jersey Group 1 playoffs here in Audubon, as the Green Wave are set for a pivotal matchup against the number 7 seed Pitman Panthers here on this wonderful Thursday afternoon as we prepare for the long Memorial Day weekend ahead. I'm Dan Wilkins, your play-by-play broadcaster for today's game, along with my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, and my producer, Donna Wilkins. I'm Dan Wilkins. We've got ourselves a wonderful ball game. These two teams have met twice since our records began in 2008. Both of them were in playoff games. One year was the South Jersey Group 1 semifinals in 2013. Audubon lost that game to Pitman, and then in 2012, Audubon played Pitman in the second round of the playoffs, and Audubon won 5-3. They scrimmaged twice back in 2009 and 2008, but these schools, being roughly 20 minutes apart, haven't had much history. And talking with John Hopley and Rich Horan, they both are extremely pumped for this game, especially considering that Audubon's goal today is to change the narrative. Even before the COVID pandemic locked us all in our houses in 2020, there was still a belief around South Jersey that the Audubon Green Wave could not get out of the second round. And that all started after the 2017 season, when the Green Wave won South Jersey Group 1 but lost in the semifinals to Middlesex. They lost in the second round in 2018. They lost in the second round in 2019. 2021, after we came back from COVID, they lost to Delsea. In 2022, after beating Salem in the first round, they lost to Woodstown. That was one of the most disappointing games I ever had to broadcast because I felt so bad for those kids, especially the seniors and Xavier and Isaiah that were going on to play Division I baseball. They just hurt so badly, and maybe not physically, but emotionally, they hurt so badly. Now, Woodstown did go on to beat New Providence and win the South Jersey and the state Group 1 championship, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Audubon was the number 1 seed last year, but they got knocked out to Woodstown. This year, Audubon's the number 2 seed. Does that mean they have the easier road? Does that mean there's more pressure on them or less pressure on them? Who knows? But Pitman is here today to play, and so is Audubon. Let's take a look at the starting lineups here for this one, here in our second round playoff matchup. First, for the Pitman Panthers, as coached by John Hopley, it's Kyle Kubat in center field batting leadoff. Braden Sharkey is the DH batting second. Stephen Devaney is the pitcher batting third. Hudson Rue is the shortstop batting cleanup. Aiden Stranahan is the third baseman batting fifth. Jake Sharrow is the catcher batting sixth. Jude Engstrom is the first baseman batting seventh. Drew Keefe, the freshman, is the second baseman batting eighth. And Jackson Austin is the left fielder batting ninth. The right fielder is a freshman, Dane Collum. He is going to be playing for one of the first times in his high school career today, but he is not in the order as Braden Sharkey has a bit of a banged up knee, so instead of being in right, he's going to be out in the DH spot. And also there's going to be no Connor Sharkey, there's another couple players as well for Pitman that seem to be a bit banged up. But let's take a look at the home side, the Audubon Green Wave, as coached by Rich Horan. It's Tyler Wiltsey at shortstop batting leadoff. Ryan Zimmer behind the plate batting second. Scott Lynch is the pitcher batting third. Charlie Grady is the left fielder batting cleanup. Trent Bennell is the right fielder batting fifth. Jack Dempsey is the second baseman batting sixth. Nick Caladros is the third baseman batting seventh. Joey Slavin is the first baseman batting eighth. Charlie Copsetta is going to be in center field, but he will not bat. And Bryce Dempsey is the DH batting ninth. All right, well, Audubon's wrapping up its warm-ups. Pitman will take the field soon. One of the greatest playoff games we're going to see in a long time. The number 2 seed Audubon Green Wave versus the number 7 seed Pitman Panthers. Two veteran coaches going head-to-head at one of the most historic fields in South Jersey, Hank Greenberg Field. We'll go to break, everybody. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Live from Hank Greenberg Field, welcome to coverage of the NJSIAA South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. Boy, is that a handful to say, or a mouthful to say. The Pitman coaches, captains, and same with the Audubon coaches and captains, they are meeting at home plate with the two umpires that'll be servicing today's game. Pitman getting ready in their dugout, changing into their black and orange game day uniforms, and Audubon doing the same in their green and gold, meeting around the third base dugout. This is going to be a wonderful game today. I think that, not just because these two teams are very experienced in what they do, but Pitman has shown before that they have often proven the impossible to be possible. And that's exactly what they look to do today, looking to upset South Jersey once more with the number 2 seed Audubon. They're trying to defend their home turf. For how the brackets are looking for South Jersey Group 1, the winner of today's game will either face Pennsville or Haddon Township, depending on who wins that game. That'll also be held today. Haddon Township was one of the few upsets in the South Jersey Group 1. They defeated Gloucester 5-3, so the 11 seed knocked down the 6 seed, and that's where we got to where we are now. So I think one of the things that is going to be important about this game is that Audubon has to keep their head cool, because I think the problem was last year and in years before that, but I can't really tell as clear of a story because I wasn't covering those games, before 2022. I think something that Audubon needs to focus on is being able to just play baseball. We've seen Audubon lose to some rather pedestrian teams last year and this year as well. And they've also bulked up their schedule to the point where they're playing, Kingsway, Shawnee, all these powerhouse schools that are of larger groups. And now they're more prepared to face the opponents that are level matched with them. So you have to what you have to do in any sport is you have to face the best to beat the best and to be the best. But from the first round of South Jersey Group 1, Buna beat Gateway 9-0 in the 1-16 game. Shalick lost to Glassboro 9-2 as Audubon is now taking the field. Woodstown came back from a 7-0 deficit to beat Cape May Tech 8-7 in the 5-12 game. Paulsboro, the 4 seed, beat Clayton, the number 13 seed, 10-0. Pennsville beat Maple Shade, the 3-14 game, 13-5, and then that one upset being Haddon Township and Gloucester in the 11-6 game. Pitman beat Wildwood 6-1 to get to where we are now, with Pitman being the 7 seed, and then Audubon beat Salem 3-0. So the quarterfinals, which are being held today, will consist of Buna versus Glassboro, Woodstown versus Paulsboro, Woodstown being the reigning Group 1 champions, Pennsville versus Haddon Township, and Audubon versus Pitman, the game that you are watching right now. For the Audubon Green Wave, their defensive lineup will be Tyler Wiltsey at shortstop. I'm sorry, I don't know why I started with that. Scott Lynch on the mound, Ryan Zimmer behind the plate. In the infield is Joey Slavin at first, Jack Dempsey at second, Tyler Wiltsey at short, and then Nick Caladros at third. The outfield lines up from left to right with Charlie Grady, Charlie Copsetta, and Trent Bannell. Charlie Copsetta is going to be in center field defensively, but he will not bat. As let's take a look at Scott Lynch. He started us off versus Salem on Monday, and on a bit of short rest, it looks like Audubon will look to repeat the strategy that they utilized on Monday versus Salem, as they had a full 6-inning performance from the Rams' Evan Biddle, who earlier in the season threw a perfect game versus Leap Academy, but this is a very different team than Salem. And for Scott Lynch this year, the senior right-hander committed to Sacred Heart University to play football. He has an excellent 1.12 ERA in 37 2/3 innings, 51 strikeouts, 21 walks, which can be a concern, but only 6 earned runs in 37 innings, while he had 6 earned runs in 13 innings last year. The Audubon dugout is loud, and so is Pitman's. Packed houses, wall to wall, no seat empty, no stone unturned. Scott Lynch versus Kyle Kubat to start the quarterfinals of South Jersey Group 1. That's a ball downstairs, and we are underway. In one of the DWB features that we covered versus Maple Shade and Pitman, Kyle Kubat hit a 3-run homer. But he's going to pop this one up on the infield. Dempsey's going out for it, and Joey Slavin calls him off to make the catch. One down.
Both these teams are from small towns, and both towns are just awesome as far as the support they give their kids.
I mean, really, we've seen it firsthand with how much we've covered Pitman this year compared to Audubon. You know, I almost feel guilty about all this because, obviously you want to root for Audubon, but at the same time you feel extra bad for Pitman knowing that you have that connection with them. And,
yeah, well, we have relatives down there. We spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time there, so it's a personal connection. But obviously, Green Wave today. You can worry about Pitman later, but today it's all about Audubon. The 0-2. He's going to be swinging a miss. And Braden Sharkey down on strikes, and this is going to bring up Stephen Devaney, the pitcher. Devaney recently surpassed 100 hits in his high school varsity career in just 3 seasons. Still a junior, he also surpassed 100 strikeouts during the 2023 campaign. And Lynch fires the ball at the knees, 0-1. Everybody on their toes here, keeping their head on a swivel. Foul tip, 0-2. First 3 for Audubon will be Wiltsey, Zimmer, and Lynch. Pitman just getting started here, and time is called. Bit of a late time call there, but counts just the same. Still 0-2. Really a wonderful crowd tonight here on both ends of the dugouts, whether it's for the Panthers or for the Green Wave. Really a incredible amount of fans have shown up to support these baseball teams, and really these are 2 towns, as you said, with incredible baseball culture. The 1-2, that one misses low. But these 2 towns don't just treat baseball like one of the sports that they have to cover under NJSIAA rules or something like that. They do it for the fun of it, and they always have so much fun, and they're able to just enjoy the game that they love. And well, how about this? Stephen Devaney, after being down 0-2, has fought off any urge and has kept the bat on his shoulder to make this count full. Let's try it again. The payoff from Lynch to Devaney. That's a walk. That's a tough one right there because, you're ahead in the count and you fall behind, and just when you get out of a rhythm, hard to get back in. Here is Hudson Rue, the shortstop. Class of 2025. Aiden Stranahan on deck for Pitman. In fact, the rest of the order 5 through 9 will be Stranahan, the third baseman, Sharrow, the catcher, batting 6th, Jude Engstrom, the first baseman, batting 7th, Drew Keefe, the second baseman, batting 8th, and Jackson Austin, the left fielder, batting 9th. 1-0 to Rue. Devaney trailing off of first a little bit. Trying to force Lynch to get a throw down there, but Devaney's always been that guy to take big leads. He doesn't do the talking off the field. He does the talking on the field, and not with words, but with his actions. You don't get 100 hits from being a cocky son of a gun that just flails his arms around and is a boastful player.
It's all business.
Yeah. Devaney keeps it on the field. Swing and a miss by Rue, and it's 1-2.
Hey, off the chair!
A hot but clear afternoon here in Audubon. Lynch staring down his catcher Zimmer. Devaney doing a little happy feet around first base. Really getting into it, and it's 2-2.
Just missed.
Yeah, sometimes those breaking balls have too much break on them, and they miss your target. And if the umpire's got a big zone, then there's a chance that could be called. Throw back to first. Nothing going on there. 70 degrees here in Audubon with a wind blowing north to northeast at 9 miles per hour. For context, that's the equivalent of blowing out to right field. Just a couple scattered light clouds, but none over the field, all of them being in the distance. And Rue wavers at a breaking ball. Side retired. Audubon getting their first chance to get their first hacks in here in the bottom of the first. No score between the Panthers and the Green Wave. Bottom of the first inning, Pitman goes down after just one walk from the Panthers in the top half. Green Wave are going to get set to battle here versus Stephen Devaney, the junior right-hander, who has been tasked with shutting down the Green Wave here in the quarterfinals of the South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. For Devaney this year, he's had absolutely an incredible season, not just in terms of stats, but in terms of accolades. 100 hits, 100 strikeouts, really just so much potential here from Devaney, still an uncommitted right-hander, class of 24. But the first batter he will face will be Tyler Wiltsey, the sophomore shortstop, NJ.com freshman of the year from 12 months ago. He's going to step out here. They need a first base coach out there. They don't. I guess they were waiting on somebody, but here we go. Devaney versus Wiltsey. Dugout's getting into it. Devaney looks back, picks and deals. Breaking ball is a strike, 0-1. The 6'2" junior Devaney, 3.58 ERA in 2023 in 45 innings, 43 strikeouts, a grand total of 111 in his high school career so far, as Wiltsey wavers at another breaking ball, 0-2. 23 earned runs. This is going to be his first appearance since May 16th, 9 days ago, in an 8-2 loss to Pennsville, which, if Pitman moves on and if Pennsville beats the 11 seed Haddon Township, that could set an interesting stage for the semifinals. And Tyler Wiltsey is going to have a close play out there, and he is out. Pitman loves it, though. There's one away. Tough play out there. Here is Ryan Zimmer. Let's go over the rest of the lineup for the Green Wave. It's Ryan Zimmer behind the plate, Scott Lynch batting third and pitching, Charlie Grady in left field batting cleanup, Trent Bannell in right field batting fifth, Jack Dempsey at second base batting sixth, Nick Caladros is the third baseman batting seventh, Joey Slavin is the first baseman batting eighth, and Bryce Dempsey is the DH batting ninth. Charlie Capsetta defense only out there in center. It's 0-1. One out. Wiltsey ground out to the middle infield his first time. And here's another chopper back out towards Rue, picked up. And it is high, way over the head of Engstrom. And I think that's a dead ball because it hit the club cart out of play. So Ryan Zimmer is going to go to second base. And that'll be an E6 after Rue made a really nice play to start the inning. He ends up undoing that with an error. So Zimmer gets a free base, gets two free bases indeed. And Scott Lynch now batting. Zimmer stands at second, one down. Devaney already having to deal, thanks to just one play and one miscue in the infield, now having to deal with a runner in scoring position. Devaney deals. There's a strike, 0-1. Really, the playoff atmosphere is just unmatched in high school baseball. People think about, you look at Friday Night Lights, the Billy Bob Thornton movie, and the high school football aspect of things. But even in a small state like Jersey, these high school playoffs are incredibly fun to watch and to participate in. Lynch is going to line one to left. That's a fair ball. It goes out towards Austin. Lynch rounding first, headed for two. He is in there. RBI double, 1-0. Hooked one right down the line and got it fair. I was afraid that was a foul ball, but as soon as I saw Lynch run, he knows exactly when a ball is fair or foul. And if he starts running, he knows the ball is fair. Lynch, the pitcher, will be pinch run for at second base by Jason Stocklin.
Mr. Wheels.
Yeah.
That's what I nicknamed him.
Started off the year, Zach Beebe, the senior, is at second base. 6 and 8 from 200 feet away look very similar on jerseys, so my apologies on that regard. But Lynch with the double, first hit of the day for the Green Wave, and now the other senior in the starting order, Charlie Grady, now bats. 1-0. Lynch had a 2-home run game versus West Deptford. back, I think, 2 weeks ago in the final week of the regular season. That chaotic 12-11 game went a full 9 innings. West Deptford won on a walk-off double by McKenna. Grady smacks one through the left side. It's going to be off the glove of Rue. Beebe moves to third. Grady moves to first. He gets the infield single. And Trent Bennell will now bat with 2 on and 1 out. So here's Bennell, the sophomore right fielder, after the infield single by Charlie Grady. Devaney gets back into it with a strike, 0-1. Grady's running, but Bannell gets a piece of it. And Grady's got to go back to first base. I know there's some guys who just despise when that happens because they think they're going to just get to second base and then the batter fouls the ball off and then they got to go all the way back. I'm like, oh my God.
You got to be ready.
Got to be ready at all times. And maybe Bannell was trying to pull off a hit and run of sorts, but... No, it was 0-2.
So he got hit then.
I don't know what's going on. I guess they said it was a hit by pitch, but
Or a balk.
no, if it was a balk, that would have just moved everybody up one base. BB would have scored. So I guess that's a hit by pitch.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was a hit by pitch?
Yeah, when he swung, I could see it hit him.
Okay. Obviously, he didn't go all the way around, or else it
No.
would have been strike 3. But here is Jack Dempsey. Dempsey lines one foul, 0-1. 6 men have come to the plate in the inning here for Audubon. And the bases are loaded, no room at the end. Bannell on first, Charlie Grady on second. And Zach Beebe, the runner for Scott Lynch, is on third. 0-1 to Dempsey. There's a strike. With the bases loaded, Dempsey got a walk-off hit back in April versus Timber Creek in a 11-10 game. This was the first year since 2009 that Audubon had 2 games in which both teams scored 10 runs or more, as time is called, only 0-2. But Audubon beat Timber Creek 11-10, and Audubon lost to West Deptford 12-11. And back in 2009, Audubon played an out-of-state game versus Malvern Prep in Pennsylvania, with Prep winning 16-10. There's a swing and a miss. Dempsey down on strikes, 2 outs. So Malvern Prep won that game 16-10, and then in the playoff game, in the semifinal round, or excuse me, in the quarterfinal round, Audubon lost to Haddonfield 11-10. So in that scenario, Audubon lost both of their games that were high scoring. But here's a tapper back towards the pitcher Devaney. He'll throw it first, and it's in time. Audubon gets a run off of the RBI double by by Scott Lynch, but that's all she wrote. Bases loaded, left on board for Audubon. We go to the second. 1-0 Green Wave over Pitman. Here in the top of the second inning, Scott Lynch with a scoreless first. This broadcast is brought to you in part by DJK Roofing, South Jersey's #1 roofing supplier with over 200 5-star reviews on the web. Get a free quote today by calling 856-778-3900. Again, that's 856-778-3900. To anyone just tuning in, I was told we've got a large amount of viewers tuning in for the playoff game, which, hey, with the playoff atmosphere, you know, it's great for people to, you know, that aren't able to make it to be able to watch their favorite teams play. So thank you for tuning in. It's 1-0 Audubon here in the top of the second inning as Pitman got a walk with Stephen Devaney rebounding from an 0-2 count, but that's all she wrote in the top of the first. And then Audubon got a run on an RBI double by Scott Lynch. And then they loaded the bases, but couldn't get anything further. But it's an 0-2 count to Aiden Stranahan, the third baseman, for Pitman. 0-2, swing and a miss. Lynch with his third strikeout. There's one away. Here's Jake Sharrow now, the catcher.
Come on, Scott! Be ready, be ready.
Jake Sharrow, the 5'6" sophomore, batting .276, 16 for 58, 3 doubles, 11 walks, and 4 hit by pitches. He's had several 2-hit games, but nothing more than that, as so too, .328 slugging percentage. Swing and a foul. Still 0-2.
Oh, I can't see. The things in the middle fell off my glasses and I can't even see. No, the things in the middle fell off, so it's like up against my eyes and it couldn't make it far off.
0-2. Down and away, and appeal to first base, but Sharrow did not swing 1 and 2. Banel was just talking about his sunglasses. I think something broke. Like he said the thing in the middle.
Probably on the nose.
Yeah. And you need that because it's a sunny day. There's barely any clouds inside. I mean, I have aviators, but they don't really work for baseball unless we're time traveling back to 1973. So it's 2-2. Sharrow will be followed by Jude Engstrom, the first baseman here for Pitman. That one misses, 3 and 2. This isn't the first time before Lynch has gotten ahead in the count and then just lost control a little bit. So he's got to regroup himself and
reel it back in.
Yeah. That's a walk. Sharrow takes first base. And what I've said before is that Scott can 100% blow away these hitters on pure speed. The problem is that he might hurt his arm in the process. I mean, his top velocity with Dan Valerio of Prep Baseball Report said that he probably maxes out 88, 89, which a lot of these Group 1 schools are not used to seeing.
No.
If you watch a Group 1 game, a game between 2 Group 1 schools, and a game versus 2 Group 3 or 4 schools, you're going to see so much faster pitching because there's so much more room for development and there's so much more resources available in the off season, you know, for these guys to gain their velocity. And a team like Audubon has maybe 1 or 2 guys that can reach that velocity, but Pitman, I mean, you saw Stephen Devaney, he throws decently slower than Scott Lynch, but that doesn't mean that he's better or worse because velocity in high school baseball does not matter as much as people think it is.
Location.
Yeah, location is what matters. And here's the 0-2 count. And the delivery. Down, 1 and 2. Again, another 0-2 count that Scott Lynch has just struggled to deliver on in ample time. But we'll see what he can do here versus Engstrom, the first baseman. He's going to show bunt here, but he fouled it back, and that's a strikeout. I don't know why he would bunt with 2 strikes when he didn't do that at all in the previous part of the at-bat, so
Don't know.
I don't know. Connor Sharkey is running at first base for Jake Sharrow. With
Take the out,
2
be
down.
happy.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever had to write KB on my scorecard for strikeout on a bunt. 2 down and a strike to Drew Keefe, the freshman second baseman. It's 0-1. See, Lynch is almost immaculate at throwing first pitch strikes, and there's another 0-2 count.
Yeah.
But the difference is that he's got 2 walks, and both of them, in the cases of Devaney and Sharrow, are when he got into an 0-2 count and then fell out of it
Yeah.
and allowed almost 4 consecutive balls.
Well, let's see what he got.
Runner goes, throw down to second base. It is called a ball, swipe tag at second base, not in time. So a stolen base for Sharkey. There's Connor Sharkey down there. And it is 1-2. Close play. Really close play down there. I mean, the throw wasn't on the money, so, you could have a bit of leverage in that case, but let's try it again. 1-2. Fouled back by Keefe.
Staying alive.
As always. If this inning continues, Jackson Austin, the left fielder, is on deck for Pitman. 1-2. Breaking ball right down Broadway. Bends into the strike zone and leaves no takers. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Pitman leaves the runner on second and is still scoreless. It's 1-0 Audubon after 1.5. Bottom of the second inning. 7 men came to the plate for Audubon in the bottom half of the first, and only 1 scored, which, ironically enough, is the maximum amount of batters possible for that situation to happen. 1 run and bases loaded, 7 batters. But here's Devaney. He'll be stepping in here versus Joey Slavin. 8-9-1 due up for Audubon as the first pitch misses downstairs, 1-0. Scott Lynch ended the second inning with 35 pitches to his name. Stephen Devaney just threw pitch number 17. Slavin rips one out towards left. Jackson Austin going back, and he can't get it. Misplayed it, might have got lost in the sun. Austin with a strong throw in. Not gonna matter. Joey Slavin with an emphatic celebration and a leadoff double. Here's Bryce Dempsey, the DH. Dempsey batting here in place of Charlie Copsetta, although I wonder when Scott Lynch comes out of the game, I wonder what they're going to do with Slavin, because usually what they do when Scott pitches is Slavin starts the game at first base and then slides over to the DH spot. Infield in a whole jamboree here, and now Devaney calling time. That was tough. I mean, Noel was yelling at Slavin to get back at second base, and the infield just kind of moved over in unison, and then they didn't make a throw. Dempsey shows bunt, popped back up to the pitcher's spot, and it is foul off the screen, and it's 0-1. Dempsey and then Tyler Wiltsey, who grounded out to the shortstop Rue to start the offensive battle for the Green Wave this afternoon. He is on deck. Infield in, Dempsey bunting again, but now that ball gets away from Sherrow, and Slavin will get to third standing up. There you go. I mean, that's a sacrifice bunt without even sacrificing or bunting. That's great. I mean, Slavin was able to get over, and that was on the passed ball. 1-1 pitch. Dempsey swinging out of his shoes. 1-2. I guess because Slavin moved over to third, that kind of bunting plan was just abandoned because, you know, no point in really trying to bunt with runner on third.
You're not going to move him over anymore.
Best thing you can probably do is a sac fly, if not for a base hit. Infield is in, though. Keefe and Rue moving to the edge of the infield grass. Same with Engstrom. That one misses. 2-2. I mean, I was worried watching the infield, outfield. I was watching, you know, the pregame warm-ups, and Audubon was making errors left and right. You know, at first base, at third base, they were, you know, wild throws, and I'm thinking, this is not the way you want to start a second-round playoff game. But Sherrow is going to pick up the drop third strike, and the throw to first is low, but it's in time. Engstrom actually had to pick up that throw at first, had to do a scoop there, but he did make the play, so Dempsey is retired, and that's going to bring up Tyler Wiltsey here with 1 out and a runner on third. Wiltsey 0 for 1. Devaney with a strikeout in this one, just one in the first inning, and that was at the hands of Jack Dempsey, as it's 1-0. See, what I noticed from the first inning was that Lynch was throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, but wasn't really finishing, you know, efficiently. But then Devaney was throwing a lot of first pitch balls and still getting guys out easily. But Wiltsey is going to have a hit by pitch, and that's going to put runners on the corners. So here's Zimmer. Again, whoever wins this game will face the winner of Pennsville, which is the number 3 seed, and Haddon Township, which is the 11 seed. It always seems like in these kinds of tournaments that the 11 seed is always the golden seed for a Cinderella run. So who knows? We could, you know, see a lot of different things happen here.
Where's Pennsville? Is that in South Jersey?
So Pennsville is down and to the west, I would say.
Oh, towards the river?
Yeah, so if you're going to like Wilmington, Delaware,
Right.
it's the last exit before the Memorial Bridge. It's
I know
like
where it is,
it's like the last exit. Here goes Wiltsey, and he is not going to solicit a throw, so a stolen base. And a 1-0 count to Zimmer.
2 men in scoring position now.
And that's a good thing for Audubon. You know, they need to be able to get those runners ahead and get them home early, because you don't know what Pitman's bullpen is going to have to offer. You don't know what, you know, tricks they're going to pull out of the bag, and Pitman doesn't know what tricks Audubon's going to pull out of the bag, and neither do I. So
You got him on, you got to bring him home.
yeah, you know, you don't want to wait until it's too little, too late to drive home those runs. I mean, we saw last year you know, the play reads like a movie in my head, but here's a ground ball. Throw to first is in time, and due to the efficiency at shortstop, Root was able to hold up Wiltsey and Slavin from moving up. So with 2 outs, Audubon needs a base hit here to advance the runners, and Scott Lynch, who had an RBI double in the first, will look to do just that.
So far, this game is panning out exactly like you called it. It's a close game.
Yeah, I mean, a 2 seed versus a 7 seed doesn't always seem that appetizing, but you've got to think about it in the way that these 2 teams have come from extremely different roads to get to where they are now. Audubon has played a schedule versus, you know, back-breaking teams like Kingsway and beat Kingsway, and Scott Lynch is actually going to be intentionally walked here. So they have decided to attack Charlie Grady instead. He got a single, though, so I don't know exactly.
They might be loading the bases too, just so they get their third out at any place.
Yeah. Easiest out possible. Ball's up the middle, get the fielder's choice. Ball goes to third, throw it to first, or throw it home. You know, everybody's got to be available to make that play. So, you know, you don't have to worry about anything like that unless the ball skips away to the backstop. But here's Charlie Grady.
Yeah, I think they're definitely trying to protect from another run scoring.
Do anything possible, even if that includes putting a free runner on. Oh, close play over at first. Sorry, I didn't pick that one up. Zach Beebe had a late reaction time diving over to first, and some of the Pitman faithful didn't appreciate the call, but apologies that I didn't get an angle on that. Here's the pitch to Charlie Grady. Bases loaded for the second time in as many innings. That one skips away. 2-0. Yeah, excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. Swing and a miss. One. Our scoreboard says 1-1, so I'm gonna stick with that.
Okay.
I think because Lynch got a ball and then was intentionally walked, so I don't think we reset it at all.
Okay.
Here's a ground ball back to Devaney, and holy cow, Pitman, talk about getting out of the jam. Audubon has left 6 runners on base in 2 innings. They've stranded the bases loaded twice. They're more stranded than a Greyhound bus station. We go to the third, 1-0 Audubon. Scott Lynch getting back to work here in the third as Pitman getting set here in a 1-0 ball game. Whoever said playoffs were easy? I mean, really. Audubon beat Salem 3-0 in the opening round. There was only one 10-run game in the entire 16-team first round, and that was Clayton losing to Paulsboro 10-0, and Paulsboro made it all the way to the Group 1 final, being a runner-up as they had lost to Woodstown and the Wolverines. Foul tip, 0-2. Here's the 0-2. Upstairs. One, two. Swing and a miss. And Jackson Austin down on strikes as Kyle Kubat is gonna get his second at bat. Scott Lynch with 5 strikeouts in 2 2/3 innings, putting him at 56 in his senior campaign. Scott Lynch played all 4 years varsity baseball, but the difference is that, or excuse me, no, he played 3 years varsity baseball, played 4 years varsity football, one of those years being down in St. Petersburg, Florida, as he had moved there temporarily to play when I think the concern was that the COVID restrictions weren't going to give him as much exposure for scouting. So
Right.
because Florida is a hot spot for football, went down there where the rules were a little looser during that time, and he's got a half dozen strikeouts.
Yeah, he definitely, wanted to keep the flow of his play going.
Oh yeah. Here's Devaney. Excuse me, no, Braden Sharkey. A little ahead of myself. First pitch misses away, 1-0. Kuo. Grounder, Wiltsey picks it up. Throw to first is in time. The side is retired. Pitman goes down 1-2-3. No base runners this time around. We go to the bottom of the third. 1-0 Green Wave. Bottom of the third inning. Devaney and Lynch still going back and forth here as Trent Bennell leads off the bottom of the third as 1-0 Green Wave. They got a run in the first, but both innings, Audubon is left to the bases loaded. Really has been a tough time getting runs across for Audubon, as that's going to be a first pitch ball, 1-0. Speaking of Trent Bennell, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Paroli's Printing and Bantles, Banners, Signs, and Apparel, as that's going to be a ground ball fair in the left field. That's going to be a base hit. Bannell's not stopping. He's going for two. Head first slide, save. A bit of an intricate double at that, but still a leadoff double for Trent Bennell, and that's going to put a runner in scoring position here in the bottom of the third. Audubon is already 1.5 times through their order, and it's the bottom of the third, but they've only got one run up on the board, so. No action in either bullpen yet. I wouldn't expect just yet for there to be an issue, but I do wonder though if Scott is going to throw a little bit longer, because they probably intentionally threw fewer pitches on Monday, as here's a looper in the right, a base hit going out towards Column, and that's going to be a base hit for Dempsey, putting runners on the corners. Bannell did not opt to move further. So now here's Nick Caladros. But yeah, what was I talking about? Oh boy, losing the train of thought here. But yeah, they probably threw less pitches on Monday for Scott so that he could throw a little bit longer today, but that's just my speculation. First pitch to Caladros is downstairs, 1-0.
Shit over there.
Joey Slavin is on deck for Audubon.
How's the broadcast coming along?
Doing great. 1-0 Pitman, 1-0 Audubon in the bottom of the third inning. With runners on the corners. As Devaney is set and now running down to second. Here goes Dempsey, and that will be an uncontested stolen base. 2-0 to Caladros. He grounded out back to Devaney to end the first inning. Devaney looks down Sherrow, looks back at second, and the pitch. That one misses low, 3-0. A lot of curveballs from Devaney. Unfortunately, not a lot of them are really sticking that well. Just sometimes the curveballs work too well. You know, if this was a 40-60 Little League field and you had to, play with a shorter strike zone, maybe they would work. But, you got to throw 60 feet here, and that's going to be a strike right down Broadway to make it 3-1. Audubon with 1 run on 4 hits. Devaney with 3 strikeouts in 2 innings so far. He has yet to record an out here in the third. 3-1. And there's another strike. Looked like a sinker or 2-seam, something like that, with a lot of lateral movement. And the count is full, 3-2. Again, Devaney went into this game with 111 strikeouts in his varsity career. Got his 100th hit versus Maple Shade in a DWB showcase game that we broadcast on May 10th, a couple of weeks ago. 12-2 win for Pitman. The 14-10 number 7 seed in this Group 1 tournament. And Devaney with strikeout number 4 as Caladros goes down looking for the first out. Here's Joey Slavin. He ripped a double to left to lead off the second rather. Just got over the head of Jackson Austin. Slavin facing Devaney here, 1 for 1. And the first pitch, outside corner, called a strike, 0-1. I forgot to mention, because we got interrupted at the start of the inning, this broadcast is brought to you in part by Paroli's Printing and Bantle's Banners, Signs, and Apparel, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs. Over 50 years in business, handling any ink-on-paper project, as well as banners, signs, apparel, and promotional swag. 0-2 count, 1 away here for Pitman, as this inning started with a double off the bat of Trent Bannell that went down the left field line. Jack Dempsey followed that up with a single. He stands on second base. And then Caladros struck out looking. Here's the 0-2. Slavin bending over backwards to avoid that fastball. It's 1-2. Slavin got a piece of it. Still 1-2. Sherrow and Devaney going to talk things over here on a 1-2 count. Pitman was 14-10 in 2023, 6-2 in the Tri-County Conference in the Classic Division. They ended the regular season with 3 losses consecutively to Glassboro, Pennsville, and Delran, with all 3 losses being of 5 runs or more. But again, that 6-1 win over Wildwood. Pitman scored 3 in the third and 3 in the fifth to advance, as here's a fly ball left center field. Austin is there. Tagging from third is Bannell. He's coming home, and he will score standing up. 2-0 Audubon. So a sac fly to left, and that's going to just put The lone runner being Jack Dempsey on second base as the Green Wave extend their lead to 2. 2-zip ball game. 2 outs. And now Bryce Dempsey, who struck out his first time. Devaney steps off.
Get them all involved.
Dempsey takes a strike, 0-1. Remember, these two teams were Group 1 champions back-to-back, Pitman winning in 2010 and Audubon winning in 2011 and 2012. So these teams, you know, they were you know, successful. They were perennially successful every year in the early 2010s. And, you know, as the 2015s came around, you know, the middle part of that decade and everything like that, and now things have come full circle here in the playoffs. Again, first time since 2013 that Audubon played Pitman, or Audubon has played Pitman. Every single time Audubon has played Pitman, it has been in a playoff game. They have not had a non-playoff game since they scrimmaged against each other in Alcyon Park back in 2009. They did the same in 2008 as well, but that's as far back as our records go. It's 2-1. And I say that because NJ.com has records going back to 2011, and I also have records from Max Preps going back to 2008, so about 15 years of records for their schedules and their scores, everything like that. That one is way away. Devaney struggling with control here. And it's 3-1. Tyler Wiltsey, who grounded out in the first and was hit by a pitch in the second, got all the way to second base. Dempsey got a bit jammed, and in right field, Collum lost it in the sun. Dane Collum lost it, and that's going to bring home Jack Dempsey to make it 3-0. So that's technically, for all intents and purposes, a base hit, because it didn't touch anybody, it just fell. So those are one of the discrepancies of scoring a game that are a bit difficult to track down, but throw over to first, nothing going on there. So Dempsey with a single. 2 runs have scored here in the third for Audubon. We've been in this spot before, though. Audubon had a lead, and then, you know, Woodstown. You know, nothing further needs to be said in that regard because everybody knows what happened. But there's a swing and a miss, and diving into second base head first is Bryce Dempsey. But it's an 0-2 count with 2 outs, 2 runs home, and a runner on second for Audubon. Devaney is set. Looks back at home. Looks back at second. And he's going to step off here. You can always tell if he, you know, moves his head a little too much. You know, he gets out of the rhythm, and you know, you just got to step off and try things again. But Tyler Wiltsey down in the count, 0-2. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. And a ground ball out to third, picked up by Stranahan. Throw across is going to skip away from Engstrom. That's going to hit off the fence, and that's going to score Bryce Dempsey. It's 4-0 Audubon. So Tyler Wiltsey gets the second on the E5, or you could call that an E3, a bit of a low throw. So really could go either way, but it's an error no matter how you slice it, and it's 4-0. John Hopley coming out here to talk to his man Stephen Devaney as Pitman trails 4-0 versus Audubon here in the second round of NJSIAA South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. You're watching coverage of Audubon Green Wave Baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. So Devaney here, after allowing 3 runs in the third, now look to get back into a better rhythm of things Here with 2 down, and Tyler Wiltsey on second base. First pitch to Zimmer. Nope, gonna step off. Downstairs. 1-0. Pitch. There's a strike on a slider. Fouled back. 1-2. Over towards Walnut Street. Scott Lynch on deck if this inning continues. This is the 7th batter of the frame for the Green Wave. Zimmer lines one out towards right, and Collum makes the catch to retire the side. But the damage is done. Audubon plates 3. We go to the 4th, 4-0 Green Wave. Fourth inning, Audubon leads 4-0 over Pitman. Today's trivia time question is, what is the most common high school team name in the state of New Jersey? Is it the Bears, the Rams, the Panthers, or the Lions? The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the fourth inning. 1-0 to Stephen Devaney in a 4-0 ball game in the favor of Audubon. Here in the second round of playoffs, Group 1 South Jersey, ground ball out to Wiltsey on a couple hops. Took a weird carom there, but the throw is in time. One away. 7 men came to the plate for Audubon in the third. 3 of them scored, which was a stark contrast from 6 runners left on base in the first 2 innings. So a good sign for the sake of consistency. But Devaney grounds out 6-3. He is 0 for 1 on the ball game, and now Hudson Rue at the plate for Pitman. There's a strike. 0-1. 0-2.
Let's go, Stan! Go,
Whoa! They called a check swing, strike 3. That was a controversial call. You want to look at that on your iPad?
Oh yeah, we're gonna go to the replay.
7 Ks for Scott Lynch. Don't think Pitman appreciated that call much. Here is Aiden Stranahan. Stranahan takes a curveball away. 1-0. Hot shot out to third. Nice snag by Nick, and the throw is in time. Caladros with an eagle eye. He makes the play in just a fraction of a second. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 4-0 Audubon. Bottom of the 4th inning here in Audubon as the Green Wave lead 4-0. It's time for DWB Trivia Time. Today's question is, what is the most commonly used team name in high schools in New Jersey? Is it the Bears, Rams, Panthers, or Lions? What's your guess?
Lions.
You'd be incorrect. It, in fact, would be the name of our visitors today, the Pitman Panthers.
Wow.
The Panthers are the correct answer. 16 high schools in New Jersey
Wow.
use the Panthers as their team name. Those other 4, though, as we'll go back to the main board, it's 0-1 to Scott Lynch. Those other 4, which were, I believe, Bears, Rams, and Lions, is that correct? Those are all in the top 5. Those are all in the top 5 for most commonly used team names in New Jersey. Lynch pops it up. Shallow center. Kubat didn't really call for it, but he came in charging hard, and he made the play 1 down. I think it's pretty common, though, that those are pretty standard team names for high schools, nationwide, I think, especially just New Jersey.
They want to be like strong, scary names. Panthers, Lions, Bears.
You wouldn't want to be like the princesses or something like that, just.
Well, unless you're, a girls team, I'd want to be a princess.
Yeah. Here's Charlie Grady. Well, I think one of the interesting things is if you look at any team that has men in it, like the word men.
Yeah.
For example, Washington Township, they are the Minutemen.
I was just thinking Minutemen.
But the girls teams, like if you look at softball or track and field, they're known as the Minute Maids. So,
okay.
Like a bit of a contrast between whether it's a boys team or a girls team.
Yeah.
I've seen before a lot of girls teams also differentiate between the boys sports by using a prefix of the word lady. Like Gloucester's softball team is unofficially known as the Lady Lions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Or like Lady Tigers, something like that.
Yeah.
Which you don't see Audubon calling themselves the manly Green Wave, like you're not adding another adjective onto
ours
it.
is so different. It's not a typical name.
The 0-1 to Grady. That one skips away, 1-1. Did you know that Audubon is not the only school to have Green Wave as their moniker?
Only because you told me before.
I did tell you before? Okay, so for the viewers at home, there are 2 other schools up in North Jersey, one in Central Jersey, but one in Central, one in North that also use the Green Wave name, the other 2 being Del Barton and Long Branch. They are also known as the Green Wave. But yeah, the Panthers, they have 16 teams, the most common high school team name in New Jersey. I believe the Bears and the Rams have like 14 apiece, something like that. Here's a ground ball to Rue, picked up, throw to first is in time. 2 down. So here is Trent Bennell. He has reached base twice today via a hit by pitch and a double. There's also the Harrison, which is the Blue Tide, which almost feels like the opposite of a Green Wave. But here's a bunt right at Sharrow, and it's going to be a foul ball. 0-1. Honestly, that bunt, if the catcher wasn't there, would have been perfect, but just it was right in front of the catcher. Almost had 0 movement. It's 0-1. Audubon up 4-0 on Pitman. You're in the quarterfinal round of the South Jersey Group 1 tournament. 1-1. Some birds taking in the view of the game today. Here's a ground ball. That's going to be a foul ball. You know, the bird is in orange and black. Could have been a junior varsity player that got called up. I believe that's an Oriole, but
Yeah.
I am not a naturalist, so take that with a grain of salt.
I don't know.
And Pitman with the 4 outfielders here. 1-2. Ground ball, foul. There's that bird again. He's watching the ball. You know, he's shifting a little bit, shifting in. Out towards right center field, especially with where Bannell hits the ball. He's shifting right there. Getting himself a good point of view. 1-2. From Devaney to Bannell. Kicks and deals. Sharrow setting up a little bit outside. Sharrow has really got that wide stance behind the plate, almost like Tony Pena. I don't know if you remember watching Tony Pena at all.
Yeah.
But Pena always had this wide stance where his like left leg would be straight out.
Yeah.
And it would almost be like he's doing a split in full catcher's gear.
Right.
But that one misses. And Bannell kicks a little dirt. 3-2. If the inning were to continue, Jack Dempsey would be next for Audubon. Let's try this again. Payoff from Devaney is a chopper foul into the Audubon dugout. It actually landed right in front of it, right to Dempsey. If you're just joining us, Audubon leads 4-0 over the Pitman Panthers. He scored 1 in the first, 3 in the third, but Audubon hasn't mustered much, although they're just getting started here. Here we go. Swing and miss. Bannell is retired, and the inning is over. We go to the 5th. Audubon leads 4-0. In front of a packed house here at Hank Greenberg Field, Audubon leads Pitman 4-0. As the Green Wave need 9 more outs to secure a spot in the 3rd round semifinals of South Jersey Group 1, but 9 outs is still a long, long ways away, and Jake Sharrow got hit by the pitch to start the inning. That was high up on the jersey, up near the bottom of the neck, and that's gotta hurt. Not just physically, but mentally as well, you know. Just thinking about first pitch of the inning. I mean, it hurts more for Audubon than it does for Pitman, because he might rub some ice on it tomorrow morning, but, you know, if Pitman's able to get a rally here, then that's gonna, you know, negate the fact that he got hit in a bad spot. Here's Engstrom. He struck out on a bunt attempt his first time. Foul ball, 0-1. Lynch with 7 strikeouts in 4 innings so far. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Engstrom, the 6-foot-tall sophomore, batting .246 in 2023. 15 for 61. As now going down to second base is going to be the pinch runner for Sharrow. Throw is not in time as Sharkey gets in there on a stolen base. Just got in there. I don't think Ban will like the call either. I mean, I thought it was fair and square, but I think everybody's a little subjective in playoff games, you know, to their own personal biases.
We see what we want to see in the playoffs.
Yeah, that one skips away from Zimmer. Now going to third will be Sharkey. And that will not be in time.
As
So
said,
Connor Sharkey moves up 90 feet away from eliminating the goose egg on the scoreboard for Pitman.
As I said during the break, you know, 4-0. This game is tighter than what the score is, and 4-0 could be gone in an instant.
Oh, yeah. Down to Engstrom, 3-2. Drew Keefe and Jackson Austin, the next 2 hitters for the Panthers. 5:19 p.m. Just about an hour 20 into this one. Foul ball by Engstrom. Count is still full. If you're just joining us, it's the top of the 5th inning. Pitman trails Audubon 4-0 in the 2nd round of playoff baseball here in Audubon. Strike 3, outside corner. Strikeout number 8 for Scott Lynch. And Engstrom is down on strikes. Drew Keefe, the second baseman, now batting for Pitman. Keefe lines one, out to Wiltsey. He picks it up at the edge of the grass, and it is in time, but as a consequence of that, Sharrow's pinch runner Connor Sharkey will come home to score, and the Panthers are on the board. It's 4-1. Still anything can happen, though, so.
This game is far from over.
Still with 7 outs remaining in regulation, of course. That one misses to Jackson Austin, as Drew Keefe, who struck out looking his first time, got the RBI for Pitman. That was a good play, though, extending that long range for Tyler Wiltsey, being able to really find the ball and make the throw from anywhere. You know, he was in the center field grass when he made that throw. Would have been real nice to have an overhead shot of that, because that's something that's really nice out there about him. There's a strike. 2-1. There's a strike. 2-2.
Yeah, tell us what you have, Scott.
Lynch delivers. Downstairs, 3-2. I mean, you can tell he's throwing his hardest. He is stopping at nothing to get Pitman down, and Lynch in another full count. He's been in plenty of those. And a foul ball down the right field line. On to Walnut Street, 3-2. If Austin reaches base, Kyle Kubat is next for Pitman. Fly ball, shallow, out towards first, Slavin going over, and he makes the catch out near the club cart. Inning over, we go to the bottom of the fifth. Pitman salvages a run on an RBI ground out by Drew Keefe. It's 4-1 after 4.5. Here in the bottom of the fifth inning, Audubon leads Pitman 4-1. Panthers got their first run on an RBI ground out by Drew Keefe, as this broadcast is brought to you in part by Paroli's Printing and Bantles, Banners, Signs, and Apparel, the true one-stop shop for all your print and promotional needs with a 5-star Google rating. If you need graduation, lawn signs and banners, flyers, A-frames, business cards, or envelopes done right, this is the place for you. Here's Jack Dempsey. There is a strike, 0-1. Audubon scored 1 in the first and then got 3 more home in the third inning. But the offense has been stagnant ever since. Dempsey backs up on a breaking ball inside by Devaney, and it is 1-1. Dempsey, Caladros, and Slavin, 6, 7, and 8, due up for Audubon here in the bottom of the fifth. As Devaney, nobody on, nobody out, just getting started in the bottom of the fifth. Little tapper foul, 1-2. You're watching coverage of Audubon Green Wave playoff baseball here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you have any questions or comments about today's broadcast, drop me a line at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. 1-2 from Devaney to Dempsey. Outside, Sharrow collects that one. It's 2-2. No score update yet on the Pennsville-Haddon Township game, which will determine who the winner of this game faces. The 3 seed, the Pennsville Eagles, versus the 11 seed Haddon Township Hawks, who upset Gloucester on the road. That was really the only upset in the first round of South Jersey Group 1. That was really the only one, being Haddon Township and Gloucester. Basically everything went as smoothly as it could be in terms of upsets, but those upsets in New Jersey playoffs usually happen around the second round. Line drive foul. You don't see a lot of Cinderella runs, and maybe a team like Woodstown last year, who was the 8th seed in South Jersey Group 1, them winning the playoffs, you know, them winning the state title, maybe that's a bit of an upset, but they had to beat the number 1 seed to do it. You got to beat the best to be the best. That's what I said in our pregame show. But 2-2. And wavering at one is Dempsey. Throw to first is going to be in time. And Devaney collects a strikeout. 3 in a row for the junior. And there's one away for Caladros. Caladros only went 3 for 14 in 2022, but he has increased that number exponentially in 2023 as the sophomore. Caladros, 15 for 53, 13 singles, 2 doubles, and he's going to tap this one out towards Keefe at second base, and it is in time. 4-3 ground out, and Caladros with an 0 for 3, and there's 2 down as Devaney continues to get in that work versus Audubon here. As here's Joey Slavin. Slavin in his first varsity year spent all of last year in JV. 16 for 63, 5 doubles, 16 walks, which has probably been the most valuable part of his game. The fact that he's been able to get on base as much as he can walk, almost as many times as he can hit. There's a strike on a breaking ball by Devaney, 0-1.
Thank you for the red card.
0-2 to Slavin with 2 outs and the base is empty. Devaney is set and he kicks and deals. Outside corner, and that will be called as such. 1-2. Bryce Dempsey on deck for the Green Wave if the inning continues. He's 1 for 2 today with a strikeout and a bloop single. A little bit of a cricket pitch there. It's 2-2. I only call it a cricket pitch because it bounced in the dirt, you know, ahead of home plate by a fair margin. I've actually never really watched a full game of cricket in my life. I just know that's how they throw the ball. I think it's too confusing for me to fully grasp, but let's try this again. 2-2. Slavin grounds one the other way, out towards Stranahan. It's picked up by Rue, fired across the diamond, and Engstrom can't pick it up again. That's going to be a dead ball because Pitman's backup catcher touched it. I think it went into the dugout anyway, so I don't think it would have mattered, but Slavin's going to get to second base. That is the 3rd error by Pitman today, not to mention several other defensive miscues that technically can't go on the scorecard as errors, but definitely an imperfect game here for Pitman when in the playoffs. You don't have to be perfect, but if you're not going to be, you got to be pretty darn good. Here's Bryce Dempsey. Slavin on second. Bryce Dempsey at the dish. Tyler Wiltsey on deck. Devaney again having to deal with a runner in scoring position. Sherrow traps that ball behind the plate. 1-0. Bryce Dempsey, the junior outfielder, 9 for 25, 360 average. 2 walks, 1 hit by pitch, 2 stolen bases. He's got 16 in the 3rd innings back on the mound, but I don't know, he's been performing more frequently on the hill than he has at the plate, so it is interesting to see the change here for the 2nd round of playoffs. There's a strike. 2-1. Two and 2. Two pitch. Ground ball, 3rd base side. It is a foul ball just past Stranahan. Still 2-2. Upstairs. 3-2. Tyler Wiltsey on deck. We're going to try this again. Joey Slavin on second base. Audubon with a 3-run lead. Their dugout is ecstatic. Clapping it up on the payoff. And a ground ball again. Foul. Dempsey got 3/4 of the way up the line, but then held back. And it's 3-2. Still 2. Dempsey struck out in the second after, again, a valiant at-bat where he tried to sacrifice and give himself up, but that kind of took itself away, and then he singled on a shallow fly ball to right in the third. Audubon's dugout clapping in a rhythmic unison. There's a blooper. Rue with an incredible scoop at short, but it is not in time. An infield single, and Rue at the seat of his pants. Sorry that my camera kind of overcorrected itself there, but he kind of, almost in a Houdini-like fashion, he caught the ball on a bounce while he was looking away, I think on a bad hop or something like that, and then just got himself in a position to get up and throw the ball. But Dempsey's fast. That's why he's on the football team, folks, you know. His brother Jack, a wide receiver, he may be small in stature, but he's not small in the significance that he's had so far. Line drive to left. That's a fair ball. Scoring is Slavin. Dempsey gets the third. Jackson Austin throws it in. Dempsey's not stopping. The throw to the plate is not in time. 2-run double, Tyler Wiltsey. 6-1. Now here is Zimmer, as Wiltsey delivers. He's been on base 3 of 4 times in this one. Dugout celebrating the players who just scored, Slavin and Bryce Dempsey. And Zimmer takes a ball, 1-0. Oh, Zimmer swinging out of his shoes. Wow. Swinging for the fences, huh? I don't know if that's what he's trying to do, but it certainly looks like it.
He wants another interview.
Yeah. Here we go again. 1-1 pitch from Devaney to Zimmer. Still out there, down by 5, and a swing and a miss. 1-2.
Well, we were up by 4 before. We got the 1 run back that they gave up.
Yeah, and then
added
some.
1 more. Right.
Yeah, and then
so
some.
So now we got a 5-run lead, but still.
Yeah.
That's not enough to sit there and, you know, relax.
Yeah. Still have to be valiant in making sure that every out is played like it's the last one.
Right.
You cannot be lackadaisical knowing this team's history. Ground ball, third base side, out towards Rue, picked up, and an off-balance throw is wide. And that will score Tyler Wiltsey. It hits off of the fence. And another error by the Pitman infield allows another run to score. It's 7-1. So Ryan Zimmer gets to second base. And now Scott Lynch will bat again. We're the 4th time around here in this one. With a runner on second after Wiltsey scored. 2 quick outs have turned into a 3-run inning, as Devaney still out there with a ground ball foul off the bat of Lynch. It's 0-1.
Audubon's been doing that a lot lately, though, with 2 outs they've had in the last several games. They've definitely put some hits together to score some runs.
Yeah, I mean, they did it earlier in the playoffs as well versus Salem.
Yeah.
Got a couple of runs home with 2 outs, and that's all she needed. 0-1. Ground ball. Lynch to Stranahan, and it is booted. That's going to be an E5, and Lynch reaches. Usually, it's a team effort that wins or loses a ball game. And in this case, a team effort of bad defense has given Audubon a 6-run lead, a 7-1 game, and also, to add insult to injury, Pitman, as a team, have now, I need to even count up the errors that we've seen in this one. I mean, wow, just incredible stuff here. Is Devaney still out there? No action in either bullpen. I'm very surprised by that, considering that Devaney's pitch count is well into the 80s now, if not into the 90s.
7-1 is not insurmountable.
No.
You know, and it's such a high-pressure game. One error can lead to a couple more because it puts everybody off, you know?
Yeah. There's been a grand total of 3 errors this inning. That's a ball inside. Here we go, 1-0. Charlie Grady, a foul ball. Audubon leads 7-1. They've taken advantage of the Panthers' 5 errors in this one. 3 in this inning. A foul ball. 1-2. If this inning were to continue, Trent Bannon will be next. Then Jack Dempsey. But you got to get there first before anything else. So we'll try it again. 1-2. Charlie Grady. Runner goes, and I guess he missed it because he's running down the first base and it's in time. I thought it was a foul tip, but I didn't hear anything off the bat, and neither did anybody else. So Grady is down on strikes, and Stephen Devaney allows 3 runs in the 5th. Audubon with a 6-run lead after 5. They've still got 6 more outs until they can celebrate. We'll take a quick break. 7-1, Greenleaf. Scott Lynch and crew need 6 more outs until they can celebrate once more, as no lead is insurmountable, though. Audubon's blown a 9-run lead before, and they've come back from a 6-0 deficit, so anything is possible. Audubon leads 7-1 over Pitman, as they've taken advantage of some defensive woes on Pitman's part. They've scored 1 in the 1st, 3 in the 3rd, and 3 in the 5th to get to where we are now. Pitman got their first run of the board in the top of the 5th on an RBI ground out off the bat of Drew Keefe, but offense hasn't really been their thing today. I mean, Devaney did well in the first couple of innings and then just didn't seem to have the same stuff, wasn't getting a location down, wasn't really getting a lot of efficient strikes, and seemed like he was maybe a little bit rattled, but that's the thing about playoffs. It is unforgiving. There is no double or triple elimination like Little League. This is one and done. Lynch with a nice play, and there's one down. 8 men came to the plate for Audubon. Trent Bennell was the only one who did not grab a bat in the 5th. So a 1-3 ground out off the bat of Kyle Kubat, and now Braden Sharkey will bat here. First pitch fouled to the screen. 0-1. Just got an update from Scott DeCristofaro. He is the parent of a Haddon Township pitcher. The score between the Hawks and the Pennsville Eagles, which is the game that the winner of this one will face, it is a 1-1 tie game in the bottom of the 5th. So if Audubon wins this game, they will face either the 3 seed or the 11 seed on May 30th, which would be after the Memorial Day weekend this upcoming Tuesday. And then the sectional final would be Friday, June 2nd at the higher seed. That one is upstairs. 2-2. Lynch has come into the 6th with 69 pitches under his belt. That one misses, 3-2.
Let's go, Scott!
If Audubon wins this game, where would they play on Tuesday?
No matter what, they would play at home.
Okay.
What matters is that if Pitman pulls off a comeback,
Right.
then it would matter depending on who wins that game, because both, Pitman is in between 3 and 11. So if Pennsville wins, then they would play in Pennsville. If Haddon Township wins, they would play at Alcyon. But if Audubon wins, no matter what, it'll be here in Audubon as, again, it's the 2 seed. So the only game that Audubon would play on the road in the playoffs, if they get there, would be if Buna makes it to the final.
Right.
Which they did beat Gateway 9-0 in the first round, and now they're tasked with the number 8 seed Glassboro this afternoon in Buna. So it's 1-1. Stephen Devaney. Sorry about that confusion there on the delay. I got caught up in my own shtick about the playoffs. Braden Sharkey did walk.
It's my fault I asked.
got me on a roll.
Blame your mom.
One pitch away!
Well, Trent Bennell said we're 1 pitch away, but the scoreboard says 2-1, so we'll see what happens. Not going to matter. Here's a ground ball. Takes a bad hop and trickles in the right field. A base hit for Devaney. So he is officially 1 for 2 with a walk, ground out, and a single, as Pitman has strung together 2 base runners here to set up for the cleanup man, Hudson Rue.
Ain't over till it's over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got 5 outs to go until you can even think about mobbing Lynch on the mound or whoever's gonna succeed him. But here we go. First pitch to Rue is a swing and a miss. 0-1.
Let's go, Scott!
Rue, the 6'1" sophomore, batting .415 this year, as that one is over the head in the left field. Charlie Grady picks it up, coming around and in to score will be Braden Sharkey, and Pitman has added another to cut the deficit to 5 at 7-2. So Hudson Rue is the 3rd straight Pitman batter to get a hit, and Wade Geis, a graduate of the University of Northwestern Ohio, he is going to talk to Lynch and Zimmer here, as you wonder if they're going to start getting some bullpen action, whether it'll be Gabe or Bryce, or I do see Jason Stockland moving down there. I think he might be doing. Yeah, I see Gabe moving down there as well. So I think that they might just be tossing, like, soft tossing and warming up, and then they're going to try to get Dylan Pooley out there to catch him for real.
Since the next game's not till Tuesday, I could see them using Gabe, though.
I mean, I personally am not a fan of how the playoffs have been strung out.
Right.
Because you see what's going on with Scott Lynch here.
Yeah.
The thing that's going on is that there was 3 days between Monday between Monday and Thursday for the first round and the second round, and then there's 5 days between the quarterfinals and the semifinals. So you can just, cruise with one starting pitcher
right.
and maybe one reliever from here on out, assuming,
right.
You make it that far. So, and the playoffs started so much earlier, too, it made the regular season so rushed.
Right.
We saw it with basketball, too. That one, whew, it almost took off the head of Shanahan in the on-deck circle. Wow. He's going to move back a little bit so that he doesn't get grazed again. But so 2 on, 1 out. Pitman has strung together a couple of base hits and walks here off of Lynch. Rattle his cage a little bit. And a foul ball. Still 0-2. But, people were not a fan of how the winter seasons were done in the NJSIAA because of how rushed the season had become. And, everybody was getting fatigued and everything like that. But now, last year, the first round of the playoffs started on June 1st. This year, the sectional final is on June 2nd. So, it's being spread out for really no reason. Hudson Rue down on strikes, make that K number 9 for Scott Lynch. And Stranahan is up now. He's 0 for 2 with a... Oh, I see what they're doing here. Okay, so Stranahan is... No, excuse me, sorry. I got caught up in the moment there. So Rue singled, got that RBI, and then Stranahan struck out. So apologies there. Sorry for the confusion. I was just like, this guy is not Aiden Stranahan. That's Jake Sharrow. You could see Jake Sharrow from anywhere. Here's a throw down to second base. A bit of a slower throw, but it sails into center field. Copsetta picks it up, and on a bad throw by Zimmer, Pitman gets another run at 7-3. So Devaney will score on what will be presumed to be an E2. Runners are going to be on second, just on second here as Rue is there. 1-1 count to Sharrow. Jude Engstrom, who is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, he is on deck if the inning continues. 2-1.
Come on, Scott! Let's be a little out, bro. Yeah, let's say, hey, Scott! Scott, let's go, baby, come on. Come on!
2-2. Seven 3. Audubon leads Pitman by 4, and time is called by Sharrow. Huge spot here. Scott Lynch has surrendered 2 runs. Again, Gabe McCracken warming up in the bullpen, potentially for a closer's spot. Popped up over on the infield. Dempsey is... he dropped the ball! The throw to second is in time, so they got him there. The question is whether or not the run will count. I don't think it will because there's 2 outs, but they did count the run. It's 7-4. This may be contested because Rich Rand's coming out, but I'm not sure. We'll go to break. 7-4 Pitman. Audubon. Bottom of the 6th inning. Green Wave brought 8 men to the plate in the 5th, scoring 3, but Pitman struck back with 3 of their own, making it a 7-4 game. Here in the 2nd round of NJSIAA Group 1 playoffs in South Jersey, as there is a ball to Trent Bannell, the only man to not grab a bat in the 5th. 8 men came up to the plate, 3 scored. This has been Pitman's best offensive stretch, scoring 1 in the 5th and then again 3 in the 6th. But it's really crunch time. I mean, really, this is the part of the game where, as a commentator, my heart starts to accelerate a little bit. And, you know, it's crazy. I mean, really, it's just, the playoff atmosphere is incredible in New Jersey, and I think it's a very underrated state for baseball and all kinds of sports, because people just love the game so much here. One, 2. Got a piece of it over towards Ryan Knoll, and it's 1-2. Oh, he leaned a little bit, maybe trying to get a free base, but that's a strikeout. 1 down. Devaney still out there. And he records another K. 1 down. Here is Jack Dempsey. Nine strikeouts for Devaney. Ground ball hit sharply out towards short. Rue. Oh, couldn't make the play. Throw was a little wide, and Engstrom tried to make a vicious tag, but he couldn't apply it. So now, here is Caladros. Caladros 0 for 3, 2 ground outs and a strikeout. And the first pitch is a ground ball out towards the left side. Rue picks it up, and that throw is high, sailing over the head. And Pitman with another error puts runners on 2nd and 3rd as Caladros gets on base for the first time today. And now John Hopley is going to come out, and I think he is going to pull the plug here on Devaney. And in fact, they will. 7-4 ball game. Devaney comes out after nearly 110 pitches. He takes the slow walk back to the dugout in a very honorable effort here in a 7-4 game.
That's what I was going to say. Very good effort.
And we've seen Devaney from our, DWB showcases that, he's a very good pitcher, and, he did well under pressure, but Audubon's offense and the Pitman defense, didn't really bode too well. So it's going to be a new pitcher for Pitman in a Parolee's printing pitching change. We'll be right back after this. Bottom of the 6th inning. An error by the shortstop Hudson Rue has put 2 runners in scoring position here in a 7-4 ball game in favor of Audubon, as the new pitcher is going to be Drew Keefe. Following changes being made here, Aiden Stranahan moves from 3rd base to 2nd base. Hudson Rue moves from the shortstop position to 3rd base. Stephen Devaney moved from the shortstop, from the pitcher's mound to the shortstop position. Jude Engstrom still at first base, and the outfield remains unchanged, but just a couple of changes here for Pitman as Drew Keefe looks to get the final 2 outs of Audubon's offensive side in the bottom of the 6th inning as Joey Slavin takes a strike on a breaking ball. Keefe hurls another strike. 0-2. Keefe with a 1.56 ERA in 18 innings pitched. His 7th appearance of the year, including the regular season, as there is a foul ball. Last appeared in the regular season finale for Pitman versus Del Ran in a 10-0 loss. Fly ball out to center field. Kubat is under it. He makes the catch. Throw to the plate is going to be late. 8-4. So a sac fly to center by Joey Slavin pushes another run across, being Jack Dempsey. And Bryce Dempsey will now bat here with 2 down in a 4-run game. Bryce Dempsey 2 for 3. 2 singles and a strikeout in this one. By the way, for the semifinal round, Pennsville leads Haddon Township 2-1 in the 6th. Ground ball to Devaney. Throw to first is in time. Engstrom makes the play, and the inning is over. Again, Pennsville leads Haddon Township 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th. Pennsville got a run across in a penultimate inning. We go to the 7th. Crunch time for Pitman. My heart's racing, folks. It's 8-4 Audubon. Audubon's electric student section. There's Grady Myers. He's loving the energy.
He's awesome.
I love him. Has no seat empty. Maybe one, look at that, one empty seat. That's about it. All of Audubon showing up to support their team here in the 2nd round of NJSIAA South Jersey Group 1 playoffs. Gabe McCracken is going to be in relief as Scott Lynch allowed 4 runs in total, but generally not a bad line. 9 strikeouts as McCracken, who helped lead the way in relief versus Salem in the opening round, now is tasked with 3 outs as the first pitch is up and in to Jude Engstrom. 1-0. There's a strike, 1-1. Pennsville got another run. They lead 3-1 with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th. There was an error by Haddon Township after a double that allowed that run to score. 1-2. 1-2. Outside, 2-2 on a breaking ball. That misses, 3-2. Let's try this again. McCracken kicks and deals. Strike 3, outside corner. 1 down. And here is Drew Keefe. Drew Keefe, the pitcher, now up 1-0. Gabe McCracken, the sophomore, 0.25 ERA in 28 1/3 innings. His count is 1-1. He had 3 innings of relief versus Salem in the 3-0 win. 5 strikeouts. He's got 33 of them this season. Actually, you can make that 34 now as it's 1-2. Ground ball back to McCracken. He'll run towards first, and the throw is in time. 2 down. 1 out away as the last chance, last call for Pitman is going to be Jackson Austin. This broadcast is brought to you in part by Doug Does Anything, your local handyman. If you need anything done, no matter how big or small, give Doug Does Anything a call. 856-412-0118. First pitch, Austin fouls it back, 0-1. Again, Pennsville leading Haddon Township, the 11 seed, in the quarterfinal. Here's a Tapper foul, and it is 0-2. For the first time since June 2nd, or excuse me, for the first time since 2017, the 0-2, it's inside. The last time Audubon advanced out of the second round was when they won South Jersey Group 1, beating Wildwood, Woodstown, Glassboro, and Pennsville, and losing to Middlesex. 1-2, fouled back off towards the right side, out on Walnut Street, missing a couple cars there narrowly. Let's try this again. Again, Pennsville leads 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th, but all that matters is right now. Got him! Swing and a miss! And for the first time since May 26th, 2017, the Green Wave have escaped the second round. The curse is broken. The streak is over. After 4 straight years of being eliminated in the second round, Audubon takes care of business to start this Memorial Day weekend. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to be cooking on my face after this game. And hey, I know that Pitman is the team that I've covered the second most behind Audubon, but that was incredible sportsmanship there from Pitman.
And a valiant effort.
And an incredible effort, yes. I mean, they were down 4-0, came back a little bit, 8-4 the final. Wow. So it looks like unless Haddon Township makes a comeback in the 7th inning, at least from what Scott Cristofaro says, then that means that the semifinal game would be played on Tuesday, May 30th, versus the Pennsville Eagles. It would be the first time since none other than 2017 that Audubon would play Pennsville. Look at this. A brigade of Audubon players. They are running with glee. They've got all the adrenaline in their veins, in their bones, and in their brains. Look at this. Look at Dylan Pooley. His mouth just wide open, and so is mine. What a performance on all fronts. And while I feel bad for John Hopley and Pitman, Audubon's gotta appreciate this moment. The last time that Audubon got out of the second round, these kids, these juniors were 12 years old. The seniors were 13, the freshmen were 10. That's just some perspective for you, some food for thought. We'll take a quick break. Stay tuned for the DWB postgame show presented by Doug Does Anything. Your player of the game is Scott Lynch with 9 Ks and a 3-hit performance. But we'll hear what he has to say after this. Here for the DWB post-game show presented by Doug Does Anything. For the player that can do anything, our player today is Scott Lynch, the senior. 9 strikeouts on the hill and also a multi-hit game at the dish. Audubon advancing to the 3rd round or the semifinals of the playoffs for the first time since I was 12 years old, since 2017. Great win out there today, 8-4 over Pitman. How did you feel out there?
I felt really good. You know, we came out with a lot of energy, and that really helped us. And you know, I think we were all feeling good coming into this game.
And after the 3-0 win versus Salem, which was by fewer runs than I expected, but also Salem was throwing their best pitcher out there. He had a perfect game earlier in the year. You know, going into this game versus Pitman, expectations were high. You know, expectations were in fact very high. And I think that there was a lot of nervousness over the fact that Audubon had lost in the 2nd round for the last 4 unbroken years from 2018 to 2022. And you guys finally broke the stalemate today, finally got the win, finally back in the semifinals of South Jersey Group 1. It feels like it's been forever since the last time, but yeah, Boland's on watch right here, but those guys are keeping a close eye. But regardless though, with your 9 strikeouts on the hill, how did you approach going into this start and getting yourself in the rhythm in the early innings, you know, getting yourself out there?
Yeah, I know they're a pretty good hitting team, so I was just going out there trying to throw strikes, and I had to make sure my off speed was working, and it was, so it really helped me out.
Yeah, the off speed I think was working on both sides of the ball because you and your opponent Stephen Devaney also had 9 strikeouts on the hill. He was also out there for like 5 1/3 innings, and you were out there for 6. So, you know, being able to set the stage for Gabe in the 7th inning really was just able to push things along really well. So overall on the mound though, with the 9 strikeouts, you know, you gave up 3 runs in the 5th inning, and Pitman started to come back a little bit. How did you fight back from that?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried. I knew our defense was going to play well, and you know, I just had to throw strikes, and we got out of that.
Well, that's a good thing to hear because, you know, when Pitman scored 3, Audubon had scored 3 in the half inning before that, and I think it was just important that Audubon had a good remedy for being able to give up those runs and then still be strong on those final 3 outs to be able to take home the victory. So on the offensive side of the ball, though, had 4 at-bats and got the intentional walk, the E5, and the double, really just, you know, everything out of the bag. That RBI double that kicked things off, though, in the 1st inning, that was a really big help. So at the plate, you know, what were you seeing out there that was helping you decipher Devaney a little bit out there?
Yeah, that first double was huge for us to get our energy back up, you know, get the first run on the board. But he was throwing all off speed, so I knew I was sitting off speed at least first 2 pitches, and that's what I saw.
There was a lot of off speed in the first couple of innings, so I think that the fact that that you guys were able to detect that and be able to bounce off of that and, you know, strategize it is what helped you guys out there. I mean, you know, 1 run in the 1st, 3 runs in the 3rd, 3 runs in the 5th, and, you know, a couple hiccups here and there on the defensive side of the ball, but yeah, I think that, I think that, you know, things are working out really well, though. So I think we've got a surprise visitor.
No.
We've got surprise visitors. You should get off frame.
I'll see him off.
Don't get the camera wet.
You'll see him.
It's all fun and games till somebody douses the camera.
Oh my! I saw a bucket of Gatorade, and I
Yeah.
thought
that would have been bad.
I thought I was about to have to go back to Best Buy. But let's talk one more thing before we let you go and let douse with some water and some other things as well. But you know, Pennsville's leading Haddon Township 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. We've got ourselves a good semifinal matchup set if Pennsville holds on. 3 seed versus the 2 seed. What will you guys do to, you know, help better yourselves for the semifinal
we're just
round?
gonna take one game at a time. You know, we're not gonna take it lightly. You know, we're just gonna come out and play our game and get your job done.
That's exactly what you want to do. Thank you, Scott. Player of the game presented by
Thank you.
Doug Does Anything. For the player that can do anything, the final score today in the quarterfinal round of the NJSIAA South Jersey Group 1 playoffs is Pitman 4, Audubon 8. For the first time since May 26, 2017, the Green Wave have punched their ticket to round 3. Again, Pennsville leads Audubon 3-1 in the bottom of the 6th. We think that they've probably closed it out by now, but I was waiting for an update from the Cristofero. But regardless, Audubon wins by 4, and we're going home. We'll see you guys next Tuesday with coverage of Pennsville and Audubon. These guys are loving it. These guys are going to go back to the locker room and they are going to celebrate. And so will I. From everybody here at DWB, my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel and Caleb Lane, my producer, Donna Wilkins, and myself, Dan Wilkins. We'll see you on Tuesday the 30th. The Eagles and the Green Wave coming up. We'll see you.